60 questions are multiple choice. So we'll be looking at the questions as they come from the different modules that were given in the syllabus. All right, so it says, which of the following sets of numbers contains only prime numbers? Now, as we look here, we're going to see 4 sets of numbers. We're going to see any number starting with 1, you know it's not a set of prime numbers because 1 is an odd number, but not a prime number. Now, we can look at the set starting with 2. But if we continue from 2 and go to 4, you know that 4 is not prime, nor is 2, nor is 8, nor is 10. So the answer for this set would be 2, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So the answer would have been D. All right. Now, let's look at the next question. Question number 2. It says here, which of the following statements is true? All right. No, it says that 3 is a multiple of 12. Now, multiples of a number means that you're adding the numbers. One of the definitions that you added the numbers repeatedly. So multiples of 12 would have been 12, 24, 36, and so on. All right. So 3 would not be a multiple of that. All right. So let's just delete that. Now it says 9 is a factor of 3. Now factors of 3 are numbers that you multiply to get 3. So numbers that you multiply to get 3 would be 1 times 3. That would be equal to 3. All right. Good. And that's the only one. So 9 would not be a factor of 3. Right? So we'll have to delete that. No, it says that 12 is a prime number. No, 12, you know that a prime number only has 2 factors, itself and 1. But let's look at the factors of 12, right? 12 has the following factors. One can go into 12 without leaving a remainder. 2 can go into 12 without leaving a remainder. 3 can go into 12 without leaving a remainder. 4 can go into 12 without leaving a remainder. 6 can go into 12 without leaving a remainder. And 12 can go into 12 without leaving a remainder. So here we find that 12 has all of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factors. So this could not be the answer. No, 9 is an integer. All right. An integer is a negative or a positive number including 0. All right. So a negative or positive, and 9 is a positive number, and so the answer would be D. All right, now let's look at number 3. This says that what is 3 to the 2 power plus 4 to the second power? All right. Now, this sometimes confuses many students, right? When they say 2, when they see 3 to the 2 power, they often confuse it with 3 times 2. 3 times 2. Right? But that is not the case. When you see 3 to the 2 power, it really means 3 multiplied by 3. All right, so let's just erase this here. So this really should be 3, let's put it in brackets, 3 times 3, and close the bracket, plus, open bracket, 4 times 4, close bracket. All right. Now, if we work that out, that would give you, let's say I made a double bracket there, 3 3 is 9, plus 4 4 is 16, and that would give us a total of 25. So the answer there would be C, 25. Well, let me write this much clearer. All right. Now, number 4 is asking, what is the square root of 64? What it is really asking is what two same numbers you multiply to get 64. And the answer is the first answer that comes here, and the answer would be 8. All right, 8. Number 5, it says that what is 9,300 written in standard form? Now, first thing we need to know that the first part of the standard form must be between 1 and 10. Now, this is less than 1, so that would disqualify it. So this would not be a contender, right? So let's erase that. Now, the others are showing between 1 and 10. B is showing between 1 and 10. And C is showing between 1 and 10. D, 93, is more than 10. And because of that, it would not qualify. So now let's look at the powers to see which one would qualify. Now, for us to get the power, we would have to put the decimal point between 9 and 3 and move it over and see how many times we'd have to move it to get 9,300. So we'd have to move 3 times. So that would be similar to the power of 10. So 10 to the power of 3 would be the answer, because that would help the decimal point to move 3 places to the right to give you the number 9,300. So the answer there would have been B and not C. All right, let's go on to number 6. All right, number 6. It says here 5.7 times 10 to the 4 written as an integer is. So 5.7, let's write it here, or type it rather. .7 times 10 to the power of 4. Now, when this is to the power of 4, means that you're going to shift the decimal place 4 times to the right. However, in reality and in fact, in true mathematical description, the decimal point does not move. What moves or shifts are the numbers. So the 7 and the 5 would shift to the left, giving it that different answer. However, for simplicity and for helping us to understand, we use the decimal point because students seem to relate better to that rather than to the other concept. Or some persons can communicate that better than the other concept. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So here you would have a 0 here, a 0 here, and a 0 there. So the answer, or the integer that will be given, would be 5,000 or 57,000. 57,000. 57,000. So the answer here would be C. All right, so let's go down, scroll down a little bit more. Now here we have a scenario. It says that on a one day in London, England, the temperature was -5 degrees Celsius. The temperature in Kingston, Jamaica was 26 degrees Celsius. What is the difference in temperature? Now, there are several ways to work this.